Hey guys, Zack here, and this is my review of the Cuphead show. Okay, so if you don't know what Cuphead is, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows what Cuphead is at this point, Cuphead is a shooter game it is a run and gun shooter game that was released a couple of years ago, and to summarize what the main appeal of this series is, Cuphead is a game that's very much designed to be modeled after the golden era of animation, the very old era of cartoons. So yeah, it's supposed to be based off of the rubber hose animation style from way back when, and in keeping with that whole premise, Studio Moldenhauer eventually got licensed through Netflix to make their own show based around the Cuphead IP, which fittingly called the Cuphead show. And long story short, the show is very much that entire premise about how the series is this old 1980s 1960s era cartoon, and it very much brings that style back. It's a very simplistic, easy to understand TV show to understand, and they're all the episodes are all like 11 minutes long, so it'll take you like an afternoon to finish the whole first season. But in any case, the first episode is there's not really much of a plot, because obviously the old era of cartoons didn't really have one. But and the plot of the first episode is essentially how Cuphead and Mugman come to owe their soul to the devil. Or specifically how Cuphead comes to owe his soul to the devil. So it starts off with their elderly caretaker, Elder Kettle, who is in the middle of making breakfast, and he gives both Cuphead and Mugman a stack of pancakes. Cuphead catches his, whereas Mugman's fall on the floor, and Cuphead gives him half of his. At which point, Elder Kettle tells them that they have a very big, exciting adventure waiting for them today, and the two boys perk up until they find out that Elder Kettle wants them to paint the fence, which they do begrudgingly. With the more practical Mugman pointing out that it feels like they'll be doing that all day, and points out that maybe they'll finish early, they'll have time to do some other stuff. Well, Cuphead is more open about the idea of exploring new things and finding new adventures. So he's more so about the whole idea that maybe they should just ditch their chores and go do whatever. And of course they start painting, and of course they actually do paint the fence a little bit before pointing out that that Cuphead is pointing out it's too slow and they need to speed things up if they want to get to the other things they want to do today. So he pulls out a giant cannon that he then fills with paint and to kind of speed up the process, which works about as well as you'd expect. And of course, to make matters worse, Elder Kettle comes out to check on them as Cuphead is loading the cannon and fires it at the fence. So yeah, not the best start to their day. But in any case, it's at this point where Cuphead and Mugman leave or are sent by Elder Kettle, who they describe was pretty mad when they obviously shot him up with paint. And told them to go get some new paint from the shop, from the the store cart that we periodically visit in the game. They go to that to get some more paint, obviously they point out that their adventure is just getting started, and but Mugman is more along the lines of, hey, we should probably get these paint as fast as possible so that we can actually get back home and finish the fence. But and even explicitly states that they shouldn't get distracted. But it's at this point where Cuphead spies a carnival nearby and kind of sidetracks Mugman a little bit, pointing out that it looks like fun and he would like to go, but Mugman isn't too sure about it. But Cuphead merely states that when he's not sure about something, he just doubles down. So, which concerns Mugman even more, and he tells them that they're under no circumstances are they going, and then they immediately do that and spend the entire day riding rides and eating junk food. The latter of which, or the combination of which I should mention, just causes them to vomit into a nearby barrel. So yeah, in any case, as they're kind of wrapping up their day a little bit and kind of China just pointing and Mugman points out that they should probably get home. Cuphead actually spies a skee ball machine with a bunch of very large signs pointing out that you could very easily win big if you go and play the game. And the game is called Soul Ball, which it becomes pretty obvious that why it's called Soul Ball. But Cuphead proves to be an old natural at the game, and repeatedly sinks several balls into the winner slot, which causes the various residents of Inkwell Isle that are scattered around the carnival to stop what they're doing, take notice, and even start cheering Cuphead on it after a point. And Mugman is very happy about the fact that Cuphead seems to be doing well and is very popular with everybody because he's winning, until he finds out what the true purpose of the machine is. As he finds out, he sees a lone resident of Inkwell Isle, a little dial phone. You guys know these really old dial phones that were popular at the time that Cuphead is set, but or rather that was the only phone you could get at the time Cuphead was set. More specifically, I guess. In any case, there's a man whose design is based on one of those, and he's playing through the game. He's playing through the game, and he loses immediately, and it quickly loses his soul, which at which point Mugman starts to realize that there might be something more sinister to the carnival, and sure enough, he takes another look around the fairgrounds and notices that several of the other residents of Inkwell Isle that seem to be there are also equally soulless, and then to just kind of confirm Mugman's suspicions, the carnival sign literally reads Carn-Evil. The Carn part of the sign just flickers out and it just reads evil, which of course causes Mugman to immediately panic and tries to get the attention of Cuphead and tell him that it's not safe to be there. But Cuphead, who is currently winning single-handedly at the game of skee ball, isn't really too concerned about any of that and isn't really paying attention to what Mugman has to say. At which point we finally meet the devil, who if you guys have played the actual game, know that the devil is the main antagonist of the game and the whole series in general. But in any case, the devil is currently collecting souls through the skee ball machine, and sure enough, as he's counting up all the souls that he's getting with his minions, he then breaks into song and starts singing his villain song about who he is and what his motivations are, and he's the devil. Obviously, you know exactly what his motivations are. I don't need to tell you that, but it's still a fun song anyway. And I do recommend watching the episode if you want to hear the song for yourself, because it's a lot of fun. But in case, the devil just kind of explains how he's the king of hell. He likes to collect souls, and he also likes to just torment the citizens of Inkwell Isle. But as he's kind of singing mid-song, one of the fat demons show up and proceeds to point out that the soul counter seems to have stopped. And sure enough, the devil looks at it, panics a little bit, whacks it a couple of times to make sure that it's not broken, and eventually concludes that there must be something going wrong on the surface. So he pulls out a periscope, which does enable him to look on the surface, although that's not the actual intention of the periscope and how it works. It's a submarine thing. You're supposed to be able to peek up over the water, but in this case, the devil is peeking out of Inkwell Hell and onto the surface of Inkwell Isle. Sure enough, what he discovers is that apparently Cuphead and Mugman are clogging up the line and are keeping people from actually losing the game and giving their souls to him. So he decides that enough is enough and decides to go topside to go and make Mugman lose purposely. And sure enough, the second he does, everybody starts panicking a little bit. Everybody panics a little bit because it's the devil. If the devil shows up, you should probably run like hell. And sure enough, the devil immediately stalks over to Cuphead and Mugman and tries to get there and just watches them play the game for a bit with Mugman eventually taking notice that the devil is there, and sure enough, he panics as well upon seeing the devil. At which point he tries to get Cuphead's attention, and because of that, Cuphead actually winds up losing his first game, which and visibly annoyed at Mugman for making him lose, he turns around and asks Mugman what the big idea is, but then he sees the devil himself, and he equally panics. And it's at this point where the machine declares Cuphead a loser and tries to suck his soul out, but Mugman prevents that from happening, and the two boys proceed to run through the carnival to try and get away from the devil using the various rides that are scattered around. They try to escape the devil on the roller coaster at one point, but he just blows it up. They try to escape on the carousel at a different point, but he just brings the carousel horses to life, and it just kind of chases them around the carnival for a bit. And finally, they run into a mirror, they also run into a house of mirrors, which the devil transforms into a more sinister version of it using his powers. And sure enough, they kind of get lost in this really incredible maze sequence where they kind of get lost in that house of horrors as it's now called. But yeah, it's just a really fun sequence where they're running through the different hallways. They fall into a hall of mirrors at one point where the devil just kind of stops out of the mirror, tries to catch them that way, and eventually they do manage to emerge from the exit pipe at the back of the maze, and eventually Mugman has a brilliant idea about how they can actually escape the devil and tells Cuphead that it's time to double down. And sure enough, what his plan is does have a pretty brilliant plan, claiming that they should just sit still and pretend they've been cornered, and which Cuphead admits they are, but that's actually part of Mugman's plan. So yeah, the devil eventually does catch up with them as per Mugman's plan, and proceeds to shoot his fireball at him to try and attack him. And try to attack the two of them, but it's at this point where Mugman pushes Cuphead out of the way, and in the process, the devil winds up destroying his own skee-ball machine. So yeah, because of that, the devil's skee-ball machine breaks, and all the souls he's harvested just kind of float out of it and into the various residences they belong to. And there's a very humorous one where there's this pig that's eating a hot dog. He gets his soul back, and then his hot dog gets his soul back, and he immediately eats it, which seems to imply that the hot dog was alive and sentient, and I feel a little bit bad about that. That's funny and sad at the same time. But in any case, the devil, seeing all the carnage that the two boys have actually wrought, begins to kind of panic a little bit at all of his souls just kind of running away. But then and by the time he actually recomposes himself and tries to go after Cuphead and Mugman, they have long since fled the carnival, and the carnival is now completely in flames, with the devil pointing out that they can't just run away and that there's no running from the devil. At which point one of the fat demons shows up and tells the devil that may be the first time he let a victim get away. But the devil merely remarks that he didn't get away, and points out that legally the soul still belongs to him because Cuphead technically lost the game. And I mean, he got his soul back, but you're normally not supposed to be able to do that. So yeah, because of that, the devil declares that he will eventually get that cup, with the demon actually correcting him by adding head to the end of his sentence, which annoys him, and he bonks the demon on the head. But in any case, Cuphead and Mugman then return back home, with Cuphead pretending that nothing had actually gone wrong, and proceeds to fix the fence and paint it as normal, while Mugman just kind of points out repeatedly that Cuphead now owes his soul to the devil, and nothing can come from that. And then the episode kind of ends where it begins, where Cuphead decides that painting the fence is going too slow, and uses his cannon trick again, which once again has the same result as it did the first time he did it, and Cuphead concludes that he's still using way too much gunpowder, and the episode ends with Mugman just pointing out that Cuphead owes his soul to the devil. But yeah, this episode's fun, and that just sets up the main premise of the games, that Cuphead owes his soul to the devil, and presumably at some point he's going to have to go through Inkwell Wild, find all of the devil's debtors and kind of collect their souls that way, because that was the plot of the game. I don't know if that's going to translate one-to-one to the cartoon yet. I'm not entirely 100%. From what I've seen, it seems to be kind of like an old Tom and Jerry sketch show type thing. You know, kind of like how Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and all those other older cartoons used to do it, where every episode is a different premise, I don't think there's probably is an overarching plot in the devil trying to get Cuphead's soul, but I don't think it's going to come up all that much. I don't think it's going to be that important. But in any case, yeah, that's my review of the Cuphead show. What did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter in the description below. Be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It does really help me out. And you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that are my way saying thanks. So be sure to check those out. Link is down in the description. And finally, if you want to see more content from me, then be sure to check out the videos linked in the end screen. The top video is the most recent one. It may or may not be this one. Whereas the bottom video is a video recommended to you based on what you've already seen from me. If it's based on what you want, so just check that out. And finally, and more importantly, just go watch the Cuphead show. It's on Netflix. It'll take you like 3 hours to watch the whole thing all the way through. So yeah, if you don't want to go in spoiler heavy, I mean, this one is kind of not really all that spoiler heavy because obviously this is the main. That's obviously if you played Cuphead, you know what the main premise of Cuphead is. But yeah, the first one's not too spoilery. The next ones might be. But yeah, just go check it out. It'll take you like 3 hours to finish. But in any case, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!